Hey guys, hey guys, Nick the Record Lover here. It is 11:28:25 on Friday night. It's cold out there. Oh boy, does the wind go through you. And what a game today for the Blue Shirts. New York Rangers and Boston Bruins, and the Rangers went over there and beat Boston 6-2. Mika Zibanejad nets a couple, and good old Chesterkin makes 36 saves. How about that, huh? How about it? I watched the replays of it today. I think the team is starting to look good. I really am. I really believe it. I never thought that they were that in the beginning. I mean, they looked at the defense always looked good in the beginning, and sometimes it faltered. But I thought that in the last couple of games they played really well. But anyway, tonight my concept for the Fireside music chat. I know it was supposed to be at 7 o'clock, but I was out all day. I was, taking care of business. So, and then I just went for something to eat, and then I'm back. Got to drink my Sprite here, get myself hydrated. Looks like we got one person in here tonight. Okay, no people. Here's Lauren. Hi, Lauren. How are you, Miss Lauren Ferguson? Ladies and gentlemen, give her a hand. Round of applause. Golfers club. Well, tonight I'm in a kinks kind of mood, or as I put in my description, a kinky kind of mood, or a kinksy kind of mood. I started. I started this week. Well, I didn't start this week. I actually listened to this when I first got it. But the Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society box set. This was a great record that was released November 22nd, 1968 in the UK and February of 1969 in the United States. But what the criminal part of this is that this was released the same day as the Beatles' Double White album, November 22nd, 1968 in the UK. This album, unfortunately, did not chart. I mean, it didn't make number 200 or 305. It just did not chart in the United Kingdom or the US. I don't know why, because this is such a great concept album. This is one, you could talk about concept albums, you could talk about concept albums, but this one from the Kinks, Ray and Dave Davies, the brothers. I mean, Ray Davies, I'm the word I wrote it in one of my features on Medium, which is a writing website. That genius, the word genius is thrown around a lot. You could throw that word around so many times. You could throw it around in circles, but I think Ray Davies does fit the bill, and his brother Ray, of course, he wrote great songs too. But they were two of nine brothers and sisters. I thought it was only the two of them in the band, but it's Ray and Dave and his other brothers and sisters, nine of them, including those two. But this has got great songs. This has got Picture Book. If anybody remembers Picture Book, it was a big single in 1968. That did pretty well at the single, and it's been used in commercials, and it's a fan favorite. Picture Book, but the whole album, I mean, describes the Village Green, or it's wrapped around the concept of the Village Green, where they lived, and a lot of most of the music surrounds that concept of what they remember growing up. And then there's the song Animal Farm, which Ray Davies go, this world is big and wide and half insane. And for saying that about 1968 versus today, I mean, it was tamer much back in 1968. I mean, I wasn't there, but they were writing about their childhood, and that's what's really good about it. And there's some great rock and roll on this record. Uh, Last of the Steam Powered Trains, uh, Johnny Thunder, great songs. Uh, what else is a song? Like I said, Picture Book. We Are the Village Green Preservation Society. Do you remember Walter? I mean, this was a big this really gained the love over the years that it deserved. But I don't think I've seen it many, many times, and it's been in lists like in Rolling Stone magazine, the top 1,000, top 500, whatever. But this is a record that, some people say that with other records like, let's say, for instance, Bridge Over Troubled Water or Moondance by Van Morrison, that they say that they're overused in these lists and and they're overrated. But I don't think either one of those two albums were overrated. I don't think this one is either. I have most of those albums in the collections, in the compilations, I should say, but the lists. I don't think any one of them is overrated that I have. I mean, Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is one of them, and you got Sergeant Pepper's, of course, and you got Revolver, and of course you got What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Different, all different kinds of albums. I mean, some they're lower in the charts now than they used to be. Some of them used to be higher. Now they're lower, and they're different ones. They're in the top five, top 10. And Revolver I think, was number one year in Rolling Stone magazine. But Pet Sounds, I think, by the Beach Boys has gotten more love than it did when it was first released, even though it went to number 10 when it came out in '66. But it gained more love over the years and it was re-released in 1972, and it had more. I think that as the fans got closer to it, they and watched them play stuff from it live. I think that it wound up selling more. But like I said about the Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society, this is a gem. It really is. It's a crowning. I don't know. It's a crowning achievement. I don't like to say that too many times, but the Kinks could never make a bad record, and you can't prove me wrong. I they've never made a bad record. If they tried to make a bad record, they couldn't do it. I mean, everything that they did from the '60s. Well, I have everything from the '60s up until 1992, which they released Phobia, and the single off that was called Hatred, a duet. And I don't think Ray and Dave were getting along very well at that point. I've heard that they didn't get along very well even in the early days. But and you get that in every band. You get all kinds of tension in every different band that's out there, or any artist that might have an ego. It doesn't matter. That comes with it. I mean, you catch them on the right day. They can be very friendly. You catch them on a different day. It depends. People get impressions of people that others don't get. You know, um, but sometimes that happens. You got guys in the band that don't get along, and sometimes you make the best music out of all that tension, which is you know okay, but which is great. I mean, the group Traffic had a self-titled album. It was Last Exit. I don't know. It wasn't Last Exit. I think it was just called Traffic. And the group really just put out great music, even though they were under a whole lot of stress. The Beatles were under a little bit of stress with the double wide album. And but if you look at some of the pictures of the sessions that were around then of that album being made, uh, they look happy. I mean, McCartney said that personally, they might have been going at each other a little bit. He said, but we got down to work and we did the music, that's when we enjoyed ourselves. And that was later on. I mean, in the beginning, they enjoyed their each other's company, so much, like in the early years, the early Beatlemania years. But by the time 1968 rolled around, they were getting older, not older. They were still very much in their mid-20s, mid late 20s, and still kids, recording an album like that. But you grew up a lot faster back then if you were in a band. I mean, you grew up a lot faster even back then. I mean, 60 years ago, it was different back then. Now you say somebody's 27 years old and doesn't have a career yet, it's like it's not scoffed upon. Back then, maybe it was, or it was, but I see a lot of pictures. I have a book called Linda McCartney's '60s, and Linda McCartney was a photographer, and her name was Linda Eastman first, but no relation to the Eastman Kodak. No relation to that at all. Even though people have asked her a million times, well, before, may she rest in peace. But she took great pictures of a lot of groups in that book called Linda McCartney's '60s. She took color pictures and black and white pictures. But she took pictures of the Beatles in their later years from Sergeant Pepper's up. So when they were in the studio recording the Beatles, the White Double album, they were smiling a lot. They were goofing around a lot. They were still the Beatles, even though they were 5 years older. It's they knew who they were. And we all still knew who they were. So, but the music always got better. They sat down. They said once the work started, then everybody started, getting happy and getting involved with what was going on. It's George is smiling when McCartney's down at the piano. And I don't think it's fake at all, or I don't think it's forced. I think that they really clicked when they were playing music. And that's what they're there for. That's what, we were there for, to buy it and to listen to it and enjoy it. Uh, but here's a couple of other albums I've been listening to as well as the Village Green. And there is so much stuff in here. And the price I got it for, I had a gift card when it came out in 2018. Now, I mean, you could still get it, but it's $200 now, this whole set. I got it probably from maybe less than $80 back then. But you get so much stuff in here. So much. You get 5 CDs, which includes the mono, the stereo mixes, BBC, like from BBC Radio, of them recording the songs off of here. You get an autographed picture. Hey, Nicole, that looks like a grimoire. A grimoire? All right, you're gonna have to refresh the memory, Nicole. I'm a little light into lingo here. You mean this does? I don't know. I don't know what a grimoire is. I mean, or am I a grimoire? I have no idea. I don't know what that is. But yeah. All right. So this has a lot of this has autographed photos, 45s in here, singles with cardboard picture sleeves of Picture Book, Starstruck. She's got everything. Three LPs in here. One's the mono version, one's the stereo version, and the other one is a stereo version. And the other one is a stereo version, but the Swedish imported version. With the track listing is a little bit different on it. There's 2 songs that it was only it was 14 songs or 16 songs in the original, and this one only had 12. The Swedish imported version of it. But I think all of them sound great. I mean, I don't get all, you know, eh, and say, well, the mono full version is better than that version, or that's, I don't think that there's any way you can't enjoy this record. But 5 CDs, BBCs, BBC outtakes, um, outtakes of the songs, alternate takes of the songs, and a book, a huge coffee table book in here about the album, the making of the album, and the history behind the album. It's a great set. I mean, if you guys can get it, it's $200. But I mean, if you save up a gift card or two. Oh, that. Well, maybe it does look like a grimoire. Yep, a book of magic spells. It could be. But the Kinks never made any fans disappear. I can tell you that much. So especially not me. So, but oh, 1 second. This break is brought to you by McDonald's and Sprite. Hey guys, what do you think of my new winter hat, huh? Pretty snazzy. You dig it? How you doing, Nicole? Hope everything's going okay. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I was at my sister's house last night. We had ourselves a pretty good spread, and was out with my mom today, so that's why this is a little bit late than normal. But this is like an open house That's the way I'm going to make it from here on in because we don't have to do a 3-hour chat. Yeah, I made my parents disappear. I watched that last night at my sister's house, Home Alone. Yeah, yeah. Well, they never made the fans disappear. The Kinks, that's for sure. And here's two other albums by the Kinks that I really like. Like I said, I love all of it. This one was originally released in 1966. It's called Face to Face. This is a reissue, and some tracks are in mono and some tracks are in stereo, but this is on purple vinyl, actually. And I love collecting this record. I also have the double CD, the deluxe, and here's the purple vinyl, which is really cool. And the album is great. I mean, from beginning to end. This has got Sunny Afternoon. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, it is pretty snazzy. I like it. 13.99 on Target. If you get a New York Rangers hat on the NHL, it's like $37 to get a hat. And I'm like, you don't even want to know what the price is of a Mika Zibanejad jersey. Well, all right, I'll tell you anyway. It's 132 bucks, and that's with the Black Friday discount. So, this is another one of my favorites. I love it. It's got Sunny Afternoon, um, Party Line, Rosie, Won't You Please Come Home, Dandy, which was covered by Herman's Hermits. I'll Remember, which is a great tune. The whole album is great. I mean, you could take a listen to it online. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, or you could stream it, or you could listen to it. You could listen to it the real way on physical media, which you know I prefer, of course. And the Kinks, State of Confusion. This one has Come Dancing on it, which is one, and Don't Forget to Dance, which is I listened to the first half of this album today that I've had in a long while, and it's such a great record. It really is. Ray Davies wrote all the songs on here, and "Come Dancing" was such a great song by the Kinks when it came out. I loved it. It's not only a song, but it's a story just about how his sister just used to go out and dance at the Palais in England. But it's more than that. He tells the story of his sister, going out, coming in all hours of the night, her having a fight with her mother, and the guys that she used to date, would save up all of their money out of their paycheck to take her out, and all she would give him is a kiss on the cheek. That was it. Because, hey, thanks, Lauren. Thank you. And big game today. Wow, I caught that. I caught the highlights. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching it today. That Zibby got a couple goals, and I'm really happy for him. And who else? Who else scored today? You guys got to cue me here because I watched most of the highlights. Not all of it though, but Shesty come up with 36 saves today. And yeah, let's put the footnote in there that Boston was missing people. I'm like, if this were the Rangers we were watching a month ago, the Rangers would have lost anyway against Boston without their big guys. So it's a double-edged sword. We beat them, but they were missing a few guys. We lose. Oh, you couldn't beat them because they were missing their key players. So sometimes Rangers fans and excluding present company, of course, that I've seen on social media. Sullivan is definitely cooking something up, though. Two big teams, Carolina and Boston. Yeah. Well, Carolina's the best team in the East. Andrew said that the other night. So, and for them to go into the Boston Garden and beat Boston, that's got to give them confidence to go back to Madison Square Garden and win as much as they can. Andrew said it the other night. If we were as good at home as we are on the road, we'd probably be the number one team in the league right now. And President's Trophy, maybe again. I just think, now this is what I thought tonight, just as I was driving into the into the lot for the record shop that I went to tonight. It was record store day. I stopped in there for like a half an hour after I hung out with my mom today for a bit. But I think that maybe after the loss, the disappointing season they had last year. Yeah, I know, but we don't want to get to the point of going down by 3 goals. I mean, no team does. No team does. All right, ran to New York. Andrew, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. I know I thought it was going to be with you guys today, but I was out, like I said, and 7 o'clock I was still out eating, so I started at 8 o'clock tonight. Um, hey, Aaron, what's happening, kiddo? What's going down in the town, Julie Brown? I thought that it was maybe it's a hangover from last year that they didn't finish well, and it started off that way because they were still bummed about last year that they didn't make the playoffs and all of the personnel changes. Maybe they got a good team and they just don't, and they got to just know that for themselves. That's the thing. They have to know that for themselves that they have a team. I know you guys just got here, so I'm going to get you up to speed on what I was showing before. The Kinks' "State of Confusion" album. This is the one that had "Come Dancing" on it, which was a big hit. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, I had a good Thanksgiving. It was really nice. It was with everybody yesterday at my sister's house. So yeah, "State of Confusion." This has got, what do you call? "Come Dancing" and another good song called "I Hope." Don't Forget to Dance. It's such a beautiful song. They're both great songs. And this one I was showing before, it's a box set of a 1968 album they did called "The Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society," which was their concept album, their contribution to that in 1968. The Beatles' double album came out the same day and year that this came out, November 22nd, 1968, in the UK. But of course, the Beatles' White Album took off, and this didn't chart at all in its own native country in the UK, which I don't know why. And you listen to this album, you tell me why it didn't. I just don't know that. I mean, like I was saying to the kids before, it didn't even go like into the top 200 or top 300, or it didn't make Billboard at all. There was nothing until it got more love over the years. The critics liked it as it was released, but the fans, there's been more fans, probably since 69, maybe, of this album, because it was released in 69 in the United States. It was 3 months later. It was supposed to come out earlier in the United States, but that they held it off because there was some critics in the paper that said that this wasn't a good album. So Warner Brothers Reprise didn't put this out in the United States till 1969, because by that time the Kinks were on the Warner Brothers Reprise Records label, which was Frank Sinatra's label. But he wasn't stupid, because what album was Lola? That's Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round Part 1. That was the name of that record. Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round. That album is completely about the shady music business. Lola was a single off of it, so was 8 Man. But the whole album is about them growing up, and them Ray Davies nearly having a nervous break. I think he had a nervous breakdown, and I think during the Village Green sessions, but he was really so disillusioned with the record business that's what Lola versus Power Man, the whole album, was about. There's songs in there like "Get Back in Line," like being in the unemployment line, as a musician, and you don't know where your money's coming from, and you don't know if you could survive as a musician. So, but there's great songs in there. Rats, like I said, 8 Man, Lola, The Contenders, Gotta Be Free. It's a whole great album. It really is, from beginning to end, as this is. But I do think any album the Kinks did, I mean, they couldn't do any wrong with it. They could not. And I got another one here too for you guys to see if you guys remember this one. If I can find it again. Here we go. The Kinks give the people what they want. This one has Destroyer on it. You know, paranoia, Neil Destroyer. And it goes like this. Smash that bloody like button now. I'm just taking a little bit of a page out of your dictionary there, Andrew. I figured, hey, you're an inspiration to me. You guys all are. So, but tomorrow night, I believe we are facing the dreaded Tampa Bay Lightning. I heard about that. I think it is it tomorrow night, regular time, 7:00. Well-respected man. Yeah. Yeah, that was in the early days. That was 64, 65. Yeah. I have all of that early stuff on either CD or LP. And some singles. I have like Dedicated Follower of Fashion, Well-Respected Man. I don't have that single. No, but I have Good Morning Family. I hope everyone is well. How you doing, Nick, my friend? David, welcome, my friend. How are you? And how is your wife, Lorraine? I hope you both had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Oh, 2 p.m. tomorrow? Wow, 2 afternoon games in a row? And I'm going, I got a date at 12:30. Because I can't win for losing. Maybe I shouldn't watch them for a couple of days. No, I was online when we won the other night, so I'm happy about that. 2:00 tomorrow, Tampa Bay. Where are we, though, Aaron? Are we at the Garden? Or are we in Tampa Bay? Are we still the Road Warrior? Are we still the Road Warriors right now? Or and Misty. Hi, Misty. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. But as I said earlier, before you guys got here, Aaron and Andrew, I'm going to make this an open house kind of chat, and there's no really need to do any 3-hour chats. If you guys, you're going to go to bed or whatever, you got something else to do. That's yeah, I need to know where they're playing tomorrow. But also if it's on MSG, or are we talking ESPN with what's his face on there? Because I can't bear to watch him. Oh, you both good. We don't actually celebrate Thanksgiving. Are you in Australia, David? Or England? Because I know you're not in the United States. I'm not sure where you guys are. Scotland. Okay. Okay. Let me ask you something, Dave. Did you ever see My Bunny Lies Over the Sea? The Bugs Bunny cartoon where he gets lost in Scotland and he's trying to find the La Brea tar pits. La Brea tar pits? There's no La Brea tar pits in Scotland. Scotland? What's up, McDuck? You've ruined my pipes. I'm going to. Hey, wait a minute. You're not a lady. You're a man. Certain I'm a man. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong? What's wrong, he says. You can't dress like that. It's indecent. Indecent? Comes over with a barrel, puts them on. It ain't got no 2 pair of pants, Doc. But it'll do until you get home. Then he shoots 1 bullet at Bugs Bunny. Then he goes and runs and picks it up. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know England was like swearing at you guys. I apologize. Sorry. Make believe I never said it. Okay. But the Beatles that come from there, just so you know, the UK and all that, Kinks. Just want to throw that in there. But I guess you guys are big football rivalries, if I may say so. I remember one football game, and at MSG channel. Good. But I'm still gonna lower them and listen to you guys anyway. I miss Sam and JD so much, it's not even funny. I really do. And I mean, I think that God, I'm so freaking thirsty. I think that Joe Micheletti was good too. But I would take John Davidson again behind in the color commentary. Sam Rosen was such a nice guy when I met him. I met him 3 months after the 9/11 tragedy. And so I was in New York 3 months later. And I don't know if it was a shock that I was in New York in December. My friend just had tickets, so the city had it had to go on. So I went. My friend and I. Oh, Mika was great from what I saw. I mean, his one timers were working, and now he just got 2 goals because I thought he got a hat trick. And then you got Chesty stop at 36. I guess his saving percentage went up. But they said Sully had a little bit of a not a hissy fit, but no, see, that's not right to say. I heard that he had to get on their asses and wake them up later on because they started to melt down. Oh, a meltdown. All right, well, whenever I think meltdown, I'd rather say tantrum because meltdown is what a volcano does. I don't think of that with a person. Slante Mahath, for one and all. Is that Happy Thanksgiving in Scotland? No, we straightened them out. No, he did. I heard that he did. Got their asses back going up again because sometimes they do have a tendency to sit back on a lead, and you don't want to do that unless, of course, you want to penalize the Rangers 4 times the other night. I mean, how many times are you going to give Carolina? Yeah, the riddle is how many times were they going to give Carolina a chance to beat the Rangers? The answer is yes. That was the refs the other night. Yes, that's how many chances they were going to give them. I mean, to call a penalty on Trocheck, that was deplorable doing that. I mean, what are you going to do with 2.8 seconds left? You call a 2-minute penalty. I mean, that's. Some days you do got to blame the refs, but not every game. I mean, you got to overcome that shit. But yeah, David, I'm glad you love the Kinks. Now, what is your favorite album by them if you have one, or your favorite song? If anybody has a favorite Kinks song, let's hear it. Um, but I listened to the first half of State of. I listened to the whole album. I got the CD with the bonus tracks. But State of Confusion is one of my favorite albums by them. Um, hey, Dave, were the Kinks big in Scotland? When they in their heyday. Oh, good health. All right, so salute from me. Lahaim in Hebrew. Cheers. Here's luck. And good health to you too, David, and your wife, Lorraine. Um, so I'm really happy they won the game today. That they were calling it Mika Magic today. I mean, see, once you get confident, see, like I said, overall, I never thought they were a bad team this year, but I think it might have been a hangover from all of the stress and everything that happened last year. That's happened. Yeah, let's eat, drink, eat, and be merry for this Ranger win. You guys must have been going crazy. I hope your mom is well. She must have had the time of her life with you guys today. But I texted my mom about it, and she's pretty happy about it too. I really would like her to see one more cup. I don't know if we'll make it this year, but I mean, if we can get the guys to come in and to be healthy, I think if Rempe comes back and he's not injury prone, I think then we have a defense. But I'm not saying that we don't have one. I didn't think the defense was bad in the beginning of the season. I thought that they did get in front of a lot of shots in the beginning. I just think that they had slanging va, that's how you do it. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay. Okay. I get you. And I thought that Quick and Chesterkin were playing very well up to their abilities. But I think that the offense needed to click. And I think once you got to get over whatever you not get over it. I mean, I miss Kreider. like everybody else does as a Ranger fan, because he and Mika were magic together. But I mean, they traded him. I mean, he disappears in the playoffs, this, that, and the other thing. I mean, they did the same thing to Mike Gartner when he was on the 93, 94 Rangers team, the Stanley Cup team. They traded him before the Stanley Cup run because they said even when he played and he was so good with the team, he didn't do much in the playoffs, though, Mike Gartner, back then when they had the winning teams. They had that, they really had good goal scorers, they had good goaltending, but they just couldn't measure up to the other teams. Today was 3 in a row, right? Was today 3 in a row or tomorrow 3 in a row if we win? Because we got to get a streak going, or at least get points. That's the thing. And I think that we can make the playoffs if we do that. Then you get to the playoffs, you never know what happens. But you got to get there. We got to want to get there. That's the thing. I mean, JT Miller was in front of the net when Zibanejad scored. So he was there for the tip in. What's happening Monday, Dave? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on the New York Rangers right now. So once I saw that and I saw how they were playing on the highlights, and I said they look pretty together. For a lack of other word I can use, you know. Igor has been solid lately. Yeah, he has. He has. I mean, 36 today, 35 the other night. To keep them in. I mean, anything could have went the other way. I mean, like today, like I said before, I don't know if you've heard me. Well, no, most of you did, but I said Boston was missing key players. But so what? A win's a win. Don't make any excuses because the other team didn't have their players. Because if you don't win, if they don't have their big guns, then it's a bigger deal. Yeah, sitting by the riverside, David. That's on this album. The Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society. A whole great album. Sitting by the riverside. Yep. The Kinks knew how to great records. I mean, great songs and made great albums. He might play tomorrow. Who might play tomorrow? Rempe? Or it was going to be Igor again? Yeah, Aaron, there is all day and all of the night. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was the follow-up to You Really Got Me because they almost sound the same. Igor back to back. Well, keep him in there while he's sharp. Keep him in there while he's sharp. An old Jolly Rancher commercial. Okay. I remember Picture Book being used for a photo commercial. Picture Book is on this album too. It was a big hit. It was a big single. I mean, it's a great tune. Great guitars, great harmonies on it. Uh, oh, Quick as Hurt, that's right. But they're bringing up Garand, I think. Track 7 on Village Green Society album. Okay, yeah. Well, I listened to the whole thing the other night, and I did a write up of it on Medium, which is a writing platform, and I wrote about it. Did the box set and the album itself, of course, which was a 1 record deal when it came out. Some people ask if the White Album would have been a better single album because I don't know the Kinks with the extra songs. This could have been a double album, but it's great for what it is. It's great the way it came out. The White Album, no, I don't know where that rumor started. They just started making it up in like the past 30 years that the White Album could have been better as a 1 album instead of 2. And nobody had a problem with that in the 60s when it came out. Nobody that I know ever said that would have been a better as a single record. And no, I don't. I grew up listening to all the songs on the album and the quirkiness of it too, because it came out, it showed you the quirkiness of the group, and how much what different kinds of music they can make. And what disappointed me about that was that Billy Joel came out and said that the White Album was a half-ass effort that they did. And they didn't finish a lot of the songs because they were stoned. That songs came out the way they did because they were stoned. I don't think Billy Joel is Billy Joel anymore. I don't think he's what he once was. You know, um, Cognitively speaking, I don't think he is because I don't think a true Beatle fan as big as him would have ever said that. On a regular day. He never said it in the past. I never saw him say that. I never heard it or saw it or read it in the past that he said anything like that about that record. There's so much to enjoy on it. There's 31 songs, including one hidden song. So, so I don't know. I mean, he was such a huge Beatles fan, but I don't know why he would even say that about that record. I mean, I don't know. It's because Revolution 9 taints it for a lot of people, but I think that I was writing. I have to rearrange my thoughts, but there's a an essay I want to write called "The Beatles' White Album is my favorite, but dot dot dot," and my subtitle is "Well, is it or isn't it?" Because I heard a friend of mine or an accomplice. No, what do you call them? Not accomplices. Accomplices. Acquaintances. I had an acquaintance who said her favorite album was the Beatles' White Album, but she didn't like Helter Skelter. She didn't like Piggies. She hated Revolution 9. She hated Rocky Raccoon. I'm like, oh, I told you guys this last week. That's like half the album. So I don't understand how that's somebody's favorite record. I really don't. There's a Beach Boys album called Smiley Smile that came out in 1967, and it had a great song on it called Getting Hungry. And that's a favorite of mine on the album. And I put that up on a YouTube platform about the Beach Boys. And someone made a comment that said, I can't see that being a favorite of anybody's. I'm like, well, I think I've had the album longer than you. I don't think this person was around in 1967. I mean, I wasn't either, but you know, yeah, it would be hard to pick a favorite album well, my favorite album, you all know, is Revolver. And I think that their best album is Revolver. And I think that that's the best record made out of anybody. And someone said, oh, no, what about the Beach Boys? But what about this? What about that? I'm like, look, that's the number one record for me. It is. It always has been since I got it for Christmas, 1980, 1983, 82, 83. I explained all that in a previous video. So, I could put on an album and say, that's one of the best things I've ever heard, you know. And I have an essay on my was it Anchor.fm? No, that's a podcast. I have it on Music a Friend for Life on recordlover.wordpress.com. That's my blog. And I titled it, but it's not Sergeant Pepper's, and in parentheses, or the Beatles didn't do everything. And some people say, Revolver is Revolver, but it's no Sergeant Pepper's. I'm like, well, there's a reason for that. Revolver is Revolver, and Sergeant Pepper's is Sergeant Pepper's. 1966 is not 1967, and vice versa. They evolved so quickly that it was like by the time Sergeant Pepper's happened, Revolver was like fading away. But when 1968 rolled around and they got back to the basics of Lady Madonna, then it was like Sergeant Pepper's was like, okay, let's just leave it where it is. Let's, not rest on the laurels and, make new music. And that's what they did. Every year they evolved. Every year. So you may have heard this all before, but I'm saying it now. But I really don't dig what's on Facebook when they have the John Lennon fans, post. or the group that you belong to. And all they talk about is how he left his first wife, how he left his first kid. He wasn't a good person. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He was terrible. No, he's not terrible. I mean, I don't like what the on Mojo.com on YouTube does celebrities who are really horrible people, and the icon is John Lennon. I'm like, no. First of all, the man's not here to defend himself. He would be almost 86 years old. Okay. He grew up, he realized what he did, and he tried to get back together as a father with Sean. But I mean, Julian. Nobody sees that though. There's pictures of him with his son in later years. I mean, I don't know what people want. It's like people get divorced, people leave their families every day. There are 9 to 5ers that do that. There are people that work, come home, sleep, and that they have a broken home life or a very tough home life. You know, there were people that work on Wall Street that snort cocaine to stay awake because it's such a pressured business, the stock market. But I mean, I'm not in that situation. So I don't know. I probably could never work in the stock market. There's so much going up, down, and you got to know this. You got to know the signs. You got to blah blah blah. And I'm like, not good in that side of finances at all. I would never do that as a career. Sales I never liked, and I had to do that for a couple of years in my life, and I did not like it. I did not like it. Customer service is one thing, but sales is completely another. The Small Faces are my favorite '60s band. That's cool, David. Do you have the Ogden's Not Gone Flake album, the one that looks like a tobacco tub? You were born in 1965. Okay, I was born in 1969. It is. They made some fantastic music. Ask me tomorrow, and I might have a different favorite song. Yeah, well, I mean, tomorrow, I could listen to the Beatles double album, and I could say, maybe side two is my favorite out of the four. I think it is actually, but I think side three and side four of the double Beatles album, I think is where they went really raunchy rock and roll, like Birthday, Your Blues. Everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey, Helter Skelter. But then it calms down in between with Mother Nature's Son and Long, Long, Long from George Harrison. You got them doing the continuing story of Bungalow Bill, goes into While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and Happiness is a Warm Gun. They went from rock and roll to country rock to pop to folk. Everything you could imagine is on that kind of on that album. I mean, but Revolver has its own style of songs as well. You got Baroque style with Eleanor Rigby with strings, and you got George's wonderful Indian flavored "Love You Too." Of course, he leads off the album with Taxman, and then you got "I Want to Tell You," which is later on side two. So he had 3 tracks on Revolver, and and 2 on the UK version of Rubber Soul. Yeah, Nick, it's like Wolf of Wall Street, based on a true story. My favorite comedy movie. Some obviously changed for dramatic reasons. Yeah, well, a lot of stuff with Wall Street is going to be changed. But then there was a movie called Wall Street with Michael Douglas, and I actually saw a scene of him snorting. Well, it's not real, as far as I know, but like fake cocaine that they're just doing it. Yeah, all right. It never really captured who and what celebrities Jordan Belfort actually had on his yacht. Okay. But also, like the Natalie Wood story, speaking of yachts and boats, nobody really knows what happened to Natalie Wood, the actress. They're saying she fell off the boat and she was deathly afraid of water. Or they said that somebody pushed her, somebody set it up. Nobody knows. I mean, has everything really been proven? I mean, with the JFK and Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King, who really knows? Do we any of us really know? Unless we were in that immediate circle. And even if you're in the immediate circle, you still don't know everything. You know, you could have a tight knit family all you want, but not everybody knows everybody's mind. So that's it there. But Lauren, when you say it was hard to pick a favorite album, would you say Beatles album or just albums in general? Because sometimes that is hard to do. But I've always had my heart set on Revolver. Always. Well, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Okay, album in general. Okay, okay, good. All right. Yeah, it's hard. I have a big collection of stuff, and today I just listened to disc one of a box set of Jethro Tull. This was, which was their first album, and it's very very different than what you would normally hear. So that I was glad because I have the original album, but the box set has bonus tracks, live stuff. Yeah, Quaaludes. I mean, that was a big thing. Still is probably for some people, but I don't know. I don't know. I know a friend of mine years ago told me he tried acid, and I'm like, okay, I don't think of you any differently for doing it. I mean, it's everything, different times, different situations. So there's no judgment from me at all about that. It's just you got to know what you're doing. That's it. I mean, you got to control. I mean, do anything like that, you go into a juice bar, you go into a go-go place or whatever, a topless bar. I was always told that there's nothing wrong with doing that stuff, but you just got to know how to control yourself. You just got to be in control with stuff like that. But there are people that just go in and they do what they do, and that's it. You know. Um, Quaaludes I knew were the big thing in the '70s, Nicole. Not I would say more in the '70s than the '60s. In the '60s, people thought you would get high smoking the resin from the banana peels. I mean, really. I mean, we're digging deep here, aren't we? I mean, they thought that that's what Donovan's song "Mellow Yellow" was about, was smoking banana resin. It's not. "Mellow Yellow" was about a vibrator. That's what, and I didn't realize that until many years later after I heard it because he goes, "Electrical banana is gonna be the sudden craze." And then, of course, you got people on Facebook that ask, "What is the worst song you've ever heard in the world?" And someone says "Mellow Yellow" by Donovan, and I'm like, "No, that was probably because it was played a lot." I don't understand how people think that songs are like some things are the worst that they've ever heard. You know, we won't even get into the Christmas songs yet until next month. But I mean, I'm telling you, the hate. I listened to the Dave Clark 5 album, Coast to Coast. Oh, I've seen that one, Dave. Yeah, I don't have that one though. I had the other ones I told you about last week. Um, yeah, just resisted for a few minutes or seconds, get you high. Was prescribed for stressed out housewives. Yeah, well, Quaaludes. Well, that's what the song "Mother's Little Helper" is about by the Rolling Stones. They were about pills. Mother's little helper that she keeps on, taking them just to stay awake, to quit, to cook, to do her everyday thing. And it's like, I mean, but when I think of that song, I don't think about, I think of more of as a tongue in cheek. I don't think of like, oh, yeah, drugs, drugs, drugs. Yeah, take them. It's I don't know. I don't think, and I probably said this last week. Stop me if I have, but I don't think drugs makes anybody talented. I don't see it that way. That's just coming from my perspective of it. I don't think that they ever made anybody talented. You're either talented or you're not. Because I had a friend ask me once years back when I used to, join in. I still have a lot of original albums my brothers bought back in the '60s. Are they in good shape, Dave? I don't know if you brought them back in the '60s. Sometimes the albums were just to listen to, not put them in poly bags with the sleeves separate. You know, but you know, uh, I don't think that any of that stuff. You know, I don't think any chemical enhancements made any groups that more talented. I just don't. I think the music was changing. People were adapting differently. McCartney in the beginning didn't like classical music, and then he watched a Brandenburg concerto, and it was right around the time that they did Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever. And he said, "Can we use this kind of sound?" And George Martin said, "Yeah." So they started, you know, including that, into their music. I mean, it's different when you're 23 and you're saying, "I'm never going to listen to classical music. Strictly a rock and roller." And then when you get to age 24, you go, "Oh, well, there's other stuff out here. There's other stuff to look at and experience." And I mean, when I turned 30, um, I started listening to Jackie Gleason albums, and just have them on in the background while I was writing emails or chatting online or writing letters. You know, Wild West show. What are we talking about? Cue me, Andrew. What are we talking about? Andrew, make sure you throw the paper bags away. Put the paper bags down and slowly back away. Okay. Yeah. We don't we're not the Saints or the Seahawks. All right. So I mean in the early days. Yep, there goes my whatever that is. Let me see. Hold on a minute, please. My mom is reacting to my message from the Rangers winning 6-2 last night. So take a time out here. Oh no, she sent it at 20-8. All right, I just saw it now. So well, that's my sister. Hold on. Oh no, okay, got it. Okay. Thank you again for today. Have a nice time tomorrow. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna put 35 the other night. Game tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'm gonna probably just come in. What do you mean you got Amazon on paper bags? What does that mean? You get paper bags off Amazon? You crazy man, you. What was the Wild West show? You gotta give me what that is. I'm not sure what that is. Paper bags on Amazon. Come on, I told you what team we're not. All right. We don't put paper bags over our heads. We're New Yorkers here. We don't do that. Yeah, I know it's tough to watch sometimes, but that just shows how strong of a fan you are. That's all. Got it. You can't, we got to stick with the team. I mean, if it's an up and down season, I just fun watching the hockey, especially with you guys because it's a lot of fun. You know, when I used to watch it when I had the cable, dude, I was throwing things, and then that's not good. You know, I I just don't I don't particularly care for that. You know, so I used to go to games and scream my lungs out, but can't you can't do that. Oh, 1965, Robert Conrad. Yeah, I think it was what he was. Oh, all right. Yeah, the Wild West. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. I didn't know if that's what he was referring to. Okay. Yeah. Mint condition. Well, let me tell you something, Dave, about conditions as a collector myself. Mint really doesn't exist as a condition. Near mint is really what you would say. I mean, mint, my friend Bob, we called him long hair Bob. Well, I call him Bobby Longhair. He would always say mints are candies. There's either VG plus plus plus, there's near mint minus, maybe a tiny little paper scratch, like when you take the record in and out of a sleeve, you could have paper scuffs because people used to do this all the time. And you would have surface scuffs, but not like a good you could tell if a scratch is going to be played by the stylus if you run your finger on it and you can feel it. If you feel it, that's going to feel it. So the turntable is going to feel it. So, but say mint condition, because I told my friend who runs the record shop up the street, not up the street, but a couple blocks on the other side of town. I said mints are candies. That's what my friend said. That's how I learned. My friend said it to me, not him, but a guy I used to hang out with at the shows I used to go to. Oh, so many record shows I went to, and he said mints are candies. You put either VG plus plus, you could say they're in really good shape, that they're really clean, but I would never call anything mint because if you play a record and someone says it's mint and it pops or you hear a little bit of crackle on it, that's not mint. That could be VG. That could be VG plus. Well, it's time for 2 a.m. here, guys. Lorraine's telling me it's time for bed. So I better do what the boss tells me to. Good night, all. Good night, David. Good night, Lorraine. Good night, Misty. Thanks for coming by tonight. We'll talk again. And Dave, you got to tell me what albums you got in your collection. We'll save that for another night. I probably most likely have them too. But so yeah, Robert Conrad, 1965, Wild West show. The Wild West. Yeah, yeah, classic. Didn't watch it very much, but a few times I did, but not. I wasn't like a sit right in front of the TV and watch that in reruns. I was not that into it, but I'm into I am into Warner Brothers cartoons, Batman, the original Batman series. In fact, it's right over here. This is the original Batman TV show, Blu-ray. When it first came out, they put it in a big box with the Batmobile and stickers and all kinds of things in it. But this is just the Blu-ray DVD release of the entire series that ran from 1966 to 1968, including all the Batgirl episodes. So this I got as an import from Italy, but it is in English though. And I did ask them if there were any scenes that were missing that should be there, or things that are off or anything like that. They had to do a couple of corrections with some of the episodes. But as I waited a little bit longer and got this, then I noticed that everything was inside. Everything was in the episodes that were supposed to be. This has like all the DVDs and a booklet. but it doesn't have like I didn't get the one with the Batmobile, crazy thing, $200. I didn't go for that. So, and even then, when that was released, it wasn't complete. The episodes had problems with them, so they had to go back to Warner Brothers, you know, or ABC 20th Century Fox. That's why this took so long to come out. This took so long to come out on DVD because 20th Century Fox wasn't biting. They weren't putting them out because of rights and this and that, and but nothing is taken out of here. Like the music wasn't taken out or replaced or anything like that. As far as I can tell, there's no missing scenes or any crazy stuff. So unfortunately, on the Odd Couple DVDs, the first season from 1970 to 1971, everything is complete in the first season. After that, because of musical rights, um, they had to edit them, and then they put them on DVD edited. That's why I never bought the set. I only rented them from the library. Yeah, near mint only would be mint if they were never played, but if they were sealed, even Dave, that they might not be mint because you could have a twisted corner if it's sealed. You could have a sliced corner cut off because it's a promo or because it's a cutout, and it wound up in the cutout bin because so many were pressed and so many were sent to the stores, but not all of them sold. So that's why even some Led Zeppelin albums wound up being in a cutout bin because sometimes they mass produced so many and sent so many to like one record store. They did distribute them, to different record stores, but sometimes one record store got like a whole big surplus of like the first album, the second album, whatever album it was, and they would have to put punch holes in it. Well, punch hole's a promo. Punch hole's not a cutout. A cutout, like cut it on the top, slice it, whatever. That's because it just went in the bin because not all of it sold. Yeah, he voiced the mayor in Family Guy. Yeah, yeah, he was good. He was good. I mean, he worked right up until that he could work. Adam West, but Adam West was in quite a few things before Batman. He was in a movie called The Outlaws Is Coming from 1965 with the Three Stooges. In that film. The only three original Stooges were Larry and Mo. I think it was Curly Joe in 1965 or Joe Dorita. It was black and white. It was a year. I can't even say it's a year before Batman. It was a year before Batman went on TV. But the first episode of Batman actually was filmed in late 1965, and it made its debut on TV in the second week of January 1966. That's where the first episode, yeah, it's tongue in cheek, but it's also has some serious overtones. I mean, what the Riddler's villainous, the girl partner that he has, she dies in the Bat nuclear reactor in the second installment, like in part two of this of the episode. Batman gets drunk against at the end of the first on the cliffhanger because he's looking for Robin, but his drink was drugged in the bar um, by the Riddler's henchman and Molly, the Riddler's girl Friday, and they were trying. He was trying to drive after Robin. He's fighting with the cop. The cop takes away his keys, and you're like, okay. And then in the second one, Molly goes to the Batcave dressed as Robin, and Batman figures it out right away. It's not Robin, so she tries to escape, but she went up to the nuclear reactor, and she just slipped because she had like Robin's heels on, and he tries to reach in and get her, and she was so scared she couldn't grab his hand. She fell in, and that I think that was pretty serious. I mean, they say, with even though with the Pam and the Bam and the Kapow and the Zap. I mean, it was almost like it was a comic book, but there was a comic books I read. I read like the 1940 first issue of Batman. I had it in a big comic book. It was like a first edition that came out in the mid 70s, and I remember having it. I no longer have it. They were a dollar. They were the big ones. I had one for Shazam, Captain Marvel, and I had one for Batman. Shazam was Wiz Comics, and Batman was Detective Comics. But it was a repro of Batman #1, and it was pretty serious because the Joker, even though he stabs himself at the end, he still lives at the end. So that's where you got the legend of the Joker. You can never kill him because it never stopped. It was a constant cycle with the Joker. So he appeared in Big Bang Theory too. Okay, yeah, yeah. Aaron, I was able to see some of your pumpkin cookie video. It was yesterday. I saw some of it before I left the house. And, I tell you, you're a real gourmet. I'm telling you, a gourmet. But Barney Rubble calls it a gourmet. I love the Flintstones. Barney Rubble's got to be one of my favorite characters, cartoon characters. I got to hand it to you, Fred. You really bowled him over tonight. Man, I tell you guys, he was in Big Bang Theory. I mean, he was in an episode of Alice. If everybody's Happy Birthday, Sherman. He called Sheldon Sherman. Wow. I always liked Jim Parsons' character on that show. I always did. Yeah. I always liked Sheldon. I did because he was funny. My sister actually saw him in a Broadway play, and I think she took a picture with him, though. Very shy, I think, though. I think he's a little. I want to say introverted, but I think he's shy, though. Jim Parsons. I think he is very shy. You'd be surprised with actors and actresses. Some of them that I was very, very blessed to meet wound up being a little introverted, a little to themselves, because the persona on stage is different. My mom had a cousin, her cousin Lou. They called him Larger Lou because he was a bodyguard, but he was also a cop before he was a bodyguard. And he was a big man. So, but he was a bodyguard for Paul McCartney and Wings in the early days. He was a bodyguard for Sean Penn and Madonna and the Rolling Stones. If any of you are familiar with the video "Waiting on a Friend," if you watch them as they're walking into the pub, if you see a big guy just taking a puff of a cigarette and just going like this against the chair, that's my mom's Uncle Lou, cousin Louie, cousin Louie Chrissa. Sadly, he's no longer with us, but we had a what do you call a reunion? I think back in the spring, and I saw most of my mother's cousins, and my aunt and uncle showed up, and we really had a nice time. And yeah, thanks. Pretty good impression of Barney. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it. He, gee, where was I? My train of thought is boarding at the station. Oh yeah, okay. Lou Chrissa, his wife is still alive. His wife, his widow, and he was a bodyguard for Al Pacino too. And on TV, when they were interviewing Al Pacino, like at some kind of an event, I could see Lou was standing right next to him on TV, and I'm like, "There's Lou." And when I first met Lou, I asked him if he could get me tickets to the Rolling Stones or Paul McCartney when he started touring again in 1989 behind the Flowers in the Dirt album. And I didn't wind up seeing him until 1990. But he said, "Look, if I could get you Paul McCartney tickets, I'll try." He said, "Yeah, yours if I can get them, but I have not seen him in a long time." And his wife Kathy said to me that she still hears from Al Pacino. So, and even Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro sends her a card, sends her a letter. She said, if you ever met the Rolling Stones and you ask them about Lou, they'll probably remember him because he was such a cool guy. All I did was ask him if he wanted to be in the video, and he was like, "Yeah, all right. So tell me what I have to do." And he told him it's that cool, and that was it, you know. And he took Madonna around Central Park a lot when she wanted to go for a walk, or a jog or whatever in Central Park. She'd just say, "Lou, I just want to go out. Can you come with me?" And that's the way it was. Sean Penn, great actor, but he said because he had like his he didn't think his poop stunk, trying to keep this PG-13. But and he said Sean Penn isn't as bad as they say, but he wasn't saying he was good either. Because I mean, I don't think Sean knew how to handle fame. But I mean, if the paparazzi gets in your face one too many times, then there's probably going to be an altercation. But I don't think I don't think that that you should be as rude as you try to be as calm and as cool as you can. But I've never been in that situation, so I don't know about that. But I can't judge because I wasn't there. Like I said, I don't know. But him knowing Al Pacino was cool. He showed up to I think his daughter's wedding, Al Pacino, and he was sitting up with the guests. And at the end of the night, people went up to talk to him, got his autograph, stuff like that. So it was very nice. It was very nice. You know, um, so that was really cool. I thought that was really cool. But it's amazing how they still keep in touch. I mean, some people. I kept in touch a lot with Denny Lane, who was with Wings, and until I mean, when he saw me, he knew who I was, and he knew my name and all that. But up until unfortunately, the sickness he had, which nobody knew, and he left us at 75 years old or 73 maybe, and that was a tough night for me because some people just touch your heart in such a way that it's like, oh my God, no, it's and it was a sickness. No, it was a. I think what the English do, and they're yeah, John Goodman, the Flintstone movie is pretty good live action. I like that. Oh yeah, well, oh you dum dums, I am the Great Gazoo. Oh, maybe there's some hope for you dum dums after all. Gazoo, you called. And you know what, Nicole? The Flintstones never really got a proper send off on the series in 1966 when it went off the air. After that, um, Fred and Barney did a 1967 Pabst Blue Ribbon beer commercial. It was like almost like an infomercial. It was like 7 minutes long, and it was them serving beer in a like an animated Flintstones episode. And it was Mel Blanc and Alan Reed, the original Fred and Barney, and then Wilma was Jean Van der Paar, and but Betty was Jerry Johnson at that point, not Bea Benaderet like it was in the beginning. Um, but they did do a movie called The Man Called Flintstone, where he is a spy, and it's okay, but it's all right. I just don't think it was a proper send off for the show. I don't because the Great Gazoo sometimes he was in the episodes and sometimes he was not. And then they ended it not with the Meet the Flintstones theme, but they ended it with Let the Sunshine In with Pebbles and Bam Bam singing. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I think the best seasons of the Flintstones were from 1960 to 1962. I think that those were the best. because Fred and Barney would get into trouble, and how they got in it and how they got out of it, if they did get out of it. Um, I thought that was pretty. That was good, and I like the episode where Pebbles is born because it's a funny episode. But then they started adding rock to everything again, like they call Texas Texa Rock. They just went too much into the Stone Age stuff. I mean, and then people have the opinion that they had a Christmas episode, I think in 1963, 64, might have been 63, and they celebrated Christmas, and they're like, how did the Flintstones celebrate Christmas when it was BC? And it's like, well, suspend the disbelief a little bit, people. You know, now you're looking back and you're saying, why did the Flintstones celebrate Christmas? Because they did. That's all. It's like, well, that's an anachronism. Christmas didn't exist in the Stone Age. So, big deal. Who cares? You want to go back and you want to nitpick every little thing that went on 60 years ago? No, I don't think so. But guys, join me in the conversation here. I don't want to be holding up, doing it all myself. So I'm gonna probably cut it off in about 10 minutes, I think, because I gotta take care of business this weekend because it was a long day. So it's a good thing that I have off tomorrow and I had off today. So I'm just glad. But I mean, pretty soon I'm gonna show my Christmas albums and be playing my Christmas albums and singles, and then I'll share them with you as well. Um, Nicole, I really think that the Batman 1989 film was very good with Michael Keaton as Batman. I didn't know what to expect, actually. I didn't. I didn't know what to expect. My sister and I looked at it and said, "You think that might be a little silly?" But no, no. I mean, I have that one on DVD. I have Batman Returns. I have the first two. I think Batman Returns, you know, I think was really good. That's also that people call that a Christmas movie because it takes place around that time. And yeah, I think the first two Batman movies are good. Batman Forever was good with Val Kilmer, but I mean, Batman and Robin was a comic book, is what that was. I mean, that was about as tongue in cheek as you could get. The 1966 television series, notwithstanding, and a lot of people hated it. And I'm like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't go see it in theater either. I rented it and I watched it. I had Poison Ivy, the Flintstones, and Viva Rock Vegas. I was contradicting myself, but John Goodman didn't play Fred in that one. Right, right. Yeah, he didn't. No, no, he didn't play him. But I think that Rick Moranis as Barney was better in the Flintstones. Uh, I'd have to say I don't know about Rosie O'Donnell as Betty, but watching it, I think it was okay, but you know, it was different. I liked it. I thought the first one was funny. I didn't see Viva Rock Vegas. I didn't see that, unfortunately. But I think the original Flintstone. I think uh, the original Flintstones movie. I think with John Goodman and Rick Moranis. I thought was fun. I thought it was good entertainment. I thought. Um, Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I am getting to red. Oh boy. I sometimes forget Michael Keaton played Batman. Great, phenomenal actor. Yes, yes. Did you ever see the movie about McDonald's that he was in? I forgot the title. It was about the business that he wound up stealing from the guy. But I heard that was an ex. I've seen scenes from it. How he tells the guy, how he tells Michael Keaton's character about the business of McDonald's. But I very much like how they kind of got the culture right in that film, where he's like, had to wait so long at a drive-through restaurant, and then he goes to McDonald's, and he asks for the meal, and in like 10 seconds he gets the meal, and he's like, that'll be 35 cents for a hamburger, fries, and a drink, and he's like, here's your change and here's your food. He says, no, this ain't my food. I just ordered it. He's like, here it is, sir. It's done. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, here it is. It's in the bag. He says, well, where am I supposed to eat it? He said, in your car, in the park, at home, on a bench over here. It was like, you know, fast food was different though back then. It was much different. I wasn't my brother-in-law was a general manager for a regional manager for McDonald's. Worked very hard. Very, very hard. Have a great night. I am hitting the hay. Let's go Rangers. Good night, Andrew. Thanks for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm going to close it down, guys, myself because I gotta unwind a little bit here because I was out for most of the day. I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning. So and I needed to get my nourishment and I got to really like stretch out and chill and get myself to bed early. I got a lunch date tomorrow at 12:30. So talked to a friend of mine. I haven't the one of my girls I used to work with, known for a long time at my previous job, not the job I have now, but the previous job. And we were making a lunch date, so we're making it for tomorrow at 12:30. So the founder. Okay. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Good night, Aaron. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Might make it home for the second or the third period. So I would definitely come home and watch it. I don't think I'm going on anywhere else after I go to lunch tomorrow. I drove a lot today, so I'm probably not going to be out tomorrow. Good night, Aaron. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Good night, David. Good night, Lauren. Good night, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and it was a blast as always. Let's go Rangers. Okay, we got to be the fans. You're very welcome, Aaron. I'm so glad that you come here all the time. I'm very happy about that. And you don't eat meat because you're a veterinarian. Oh, how do you tell a blonde's been using the? No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I thought I was going to tell more jokes tonight. I actually had that planned, but I can't do it. Maybe tomorrow I'll write them in. But I don't want to. All right, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. I didn't see Ali Cat tonight. Yeah, Kit Kat. I didn't see her. Maybe she thought it was 7 o'clock. I didn't get a chance to tell her though. I didn't. I don't know if she was online with Discord. So I don't know. But thanks, Aaron. Thanks for everybody for being here tonight. I'm going to shut it down. So if anybody that I missed, Nicole, Lauren, David Bruce, and Aaron. Well, of course, I miss Aaron. Aaron and Andrew. Thanks for being part of the conversation tonight. Love you guys. Let's go Rangers and let's go. Take care, Nick. Also go record searching too if I have time. I went record searching tonight. I went tonight. I went because it was record store day today. And by the time I got back into town, they were open till 9 o'clock tonight, but there was only a few people in there by the time I got home. I thought my friend, the owner, was going to be in there. I might go into tomorrow just to say hello, but I'm really not really into the market of buying a whole hell of a lot of records right now. So, plus I got Christmas coming, and Saint Nick's got to take care of the family. So, um, I'm gonna. I mean, I may go record search tomorrow, Nicole. I don't know. I might. But I'm glad you liked it. But I want to say good night to everybody and thank everybody for being here. And let's go Rangers. And as Aaron says, let's go you guys because you guys are great. Okay. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully for a certain portion of the game. Okay? So let's go. Let's beat Tampa Bay tomorrow. It's an MSG. Let's make it happen. Let's beat Tampa. Let's start a streak. Let's get back to who we were before. All right? Let's make the Rangers. We're going to be great again. You know it. We don't want to talk too loudly, but I believe in the team. I really do. I believe in it. And when I saw Mike Sullivan get into it the other night, Carolina, even against Carolina, I mean, he started screaming and everything like that. I mean, that's the kind of coach we want. That's the kind of coach we want. We don't want hot and cold. We don't want, if you want to play, play. I mean, it's like the less David Quinn is involved with this team, the better. Because I didn't like him as a coach. But that's it for tonight. More tomorrow when I type get myself on tomorrow. Still need to watch Pink Panther. Come on, get with it already, will you guys? We got to talk about it next time. Yeesh. I tell you, it's all over the place. All right. That's my hour and a half fireside chat for tonight. Peace, guys. If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. God bless. A whisper of the word will let you soar with your soul. Have a great night. Peace.